Hello, sir. Sir, good afternoon.
Sir, very good afternoon, sir. We can start, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay, sir. One minute, sir. Okay. Good afternoon. I am welcoming all for the. Sir, whether my voice is audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, madam. I will share my screen. Sir, whether you can see the PowerPoint presentation, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Okay. Again, I am welcoming all for the second day of the Nuances of Research. Again, I would like to extend my sincere thanks from bottom of my heart for inviting me as a resource person to share some of my thought process on review of literature. I would like to place my sincere thanks to Sheikh Mansoor sir and other staff members who are involved in organizing this program. I am also welcoming all the students and research scholars for this program. Today, we are going to discuss another one important aspect, that is review of literature. Whenever we do research, let's take even MBA research or PhD research, or even sometimes you might submit your research proposals to funding agency. You are supposed to write some review of literature. This is very important. So even when you submit your research paper to Scopus indexed journals or Web of Science indexed journal, they will focus much importance, or they will give much importance only to the review of literature. Today we are going to discuss what is the review of literature, why we should review of literature, what are the different sources of review of literature, what are the strategies of review of literature, what are the tips for a review of literature. This is what we are going to discuss. So normally, what is review of literature? Review of literature is nothing but it's a brief description of the literature relevant to the particular field or topic. That is a meaning for the term review of literature. The main objectives of writing review of literature is to find the research gap. Whenever we do research, there will be some research gap. Once we identify the research gap, our job is very simple. For example, you might ask one question. Say, for example, customer satisfaction. If you take customer satisfaction of two-wheeler or four-wheeler or any customer satisfaction, already 150,000 people have conducted a research. In such circumstances, when you do the same research again, there is no newness. When we do any research, at least there must be a novel idea. At least it should add some value to the existing body of literature. So the main objectives of writing review of literature is to identify the research gap. That is the purpose why even if you take some Web of Science or Scopus indexed journal, they might write the research gap like this. Even though several study has been conducted all over the world, most of the study has been conducted in Western perspective. Only few study has been conducted in Indian perspective. Therefore, the researcher is intended to fill the gap by way of doing this study. They might write, okay. Say, for example, why we should do the review of literature? With the help of review of literature, we can get this information. That is what has been said. For example, if we take some research paper, we can get this information. What has been said. Then key writers. Key writers means if you take any topic, Say for example, stress. There is a person called Uday Parikh. You would like to do some research on dividend, Walter, Gordon, Modi Kalani Miller. If you want to do some research on capital structure, and immediately then Durand. This person is giving one approach, net income approach, Durand. So you can get this kind of key writers and their contributions. Plus, you can also know the prevailing theories and hypotheses. Already we have seen theory is a base for any research. When you do the research, you take any one other theory. So, for example, you like to do the research on leadership. You can get several leadership theories. Similarly, you can also get the hypothesis. Another one important thing, you can also get appropriate and useful methods and methodology. It is nothing but research methodology. You can, by reading the research paper, you can get some ideas. Say, for example, what is the target population? What is the sampling frame? What is the statistical tool they have used? Similarly, how they have developed the questionnaire? What kind of sampling technique they have used? There are two types of sampling technique. One is a random sampling, another one is a non-random sampling. What sampling technique has been used? Normally, we will say non-random sampling is not a good, but in some circumstances, we can use non-random sampling because of non-availability of sampling framework. In such circumstances, we can also use this as a justification for our thesis. Okay. Plus, what approach has been used by others? Last session we have seen there are two types of research approach has been used by researchers. One is an inductive or another one is a deductive. Next, you can also get this information. What difference you are making? Everybody do the research. What difference you are making? You can also place current context in your study. You can also avoid duplications. With the help of review of literature, you can also avoid duplication of your research work. You can also clarify the controversial results. Sometimes some results are controversial. Say, for example, let's take sometimes, for example, somebody says male is efficient, somebody says female is efficient. Actually, this is a controversial results. You can clarify these controversial results by way of review of literature. How many review of literature? How many studies have proven that male is efficient? Then female. How many studies have proven that female is efficient? So based on which you can draw some meaningful conclusions. Apart from this, you can also narrow down your research problem. The research problem is something big. With the help of review of literature, you can narrow down or you can focus your research problem. You can also identify the variable. Even then, the variable relating to this study is drawn from the previous research work done by so on so. The researcher made suitable modification in the existing questionnaire to suit the requirement of the present study. You can write variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you draw all variable from one researchers, you can give a name, you can give a citation. Say for example, X et al. Or Y et al. This is more than enough. Immediately, everybody will be happy. Next one, you can also know your research design. Already we have seen what is research design. Research design can be classified into two types. One is a conclusive, another one is a non-conclusive. Which type of research design the particular research follows, we can know. Plus, it also, with the help of review of literature, you can also form some significant questions, research question. You can also give background information to your work. Whenever you submit some research proposal, or whenever you write some introduction in your thesis, introduction about the thesis, you should keep these things in your mind. First, you can give the basic information. Next, you can write the international status. That is very, very important. What is the international status of the particular issue? Next, you should include the national status. Then you can include your state. This is very, very important. How we can include this kind of information? How we can get this information? Only by way of review of literature. You can also generate some new idea. You can also you can also build new work on old work. Sometimes with the help of review of literature, you can do this. Say, for example, when you are writing or when you are submitting, you are going to just imagine that you are going to submit your research paper, particularly to Scopus or Web of Science. They are asking one thing. Say, for example, analysis part is okay. Finally, they will ask. Say, for example, you are supposed to do. You are supposed to write there like this. For example, what is your study finding? What is your study finding says? Okay. You should compare your study finding with other researchers' finding. You can also write like this. A study conducted by so and so is similar to your research. Sometimes your research results is something different. Somebody else's results might be totally contradictory one. You can also get this information from the review of literature. This is very, very important for the research paper. Finally, you can also identify areas where research is needed. Okay. Now you might ask another question. Sir, where I can get this review of literature? Say, for example, if you take journal, there are two types of journals. One is an open access journal, another one is a closed access journal. What is open access and closed access journal? In case of open access journal, you can download all your research paper. But when you submit your research paper, you have to pay some fee for publishing your research paper. Whereas, let's take closed access journal. Closed access journal. You need not, as a researcher, you need not publish any fee for publishing your research paper. Whereas, then the person who is going to download, they are supposed to pay the fee for downloading the research paper. Best example, emeraldinsight.com will come under closed access journal. So, if you want to download research paper, use open access. Similarly, when you want to submit research paper, closed access journal, that is good. Plus, you can also take any of the research paper, particularly that research, at least the research paper should have been accepted by UGC, Scopus indexed or Web of Science indexed for last 5 to 10 years. That is very, very important. Last 5 to 10 years. You can download last 5 to 10 years. Sometimes you can download some research paper. This is said to be classical paper. If you want to study you would like to study the origin and development of the particular concept. For example, you are doing industrial marketing. You are doing some project in industrial marketing. So, or service marketing. So, let's take that term, the service marketing concept is emerged from the field of industrial marketing. So, in such circumstances, you can refer the very old paper. That is a classical paper. You can also collect review of literature from conference proceedings. Conference proceedings means, I'm not talking about all conference proceeding. This conference proceeding, which has been accepted by or indexed in Scopus or Web of Science. That is a good. Plus, official publications. We have several official publications. Say, for example, CMI, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy. We have one official publications. Plus, RBA might publishing some bulletin. Similarly, let's take another Proverse. We have some data from the Proverse. Okay, so this is we should collect review of literature from official publications plus reviews. Reviews means, and then sometimes some author might do the review of literature. They will take only one paper they will do only review of literature alone. What is the main objective? The main objective is to find the research gap. So we can also take those papers. Plus academic journals, books and book chapters, plus reports, plus doctoral thesis, plus professional or trade journals. We can also collect some data from newspaper. Okay. Now, say for example, we can collect some data from the newspaper. Okay. So when I should do the review of literature, sometimes scholar might ask this question: when I should do the review of literature? You should do the review of literature at the beginning, because when you start looking for a problem, next you should do the review of literature in the middle. Once your work is under the way, why? Because just you can check whether you are moving in the right direction. Next, at the end of the research, at the end you will write something about results. Results. Okay. Then results and discussion section. So you should do review of literature in the beginning. In order to check, you are supposed to do review of literature. You can collect review of literature during your research work at the end. Next, how I should select the paper to read. How I should select the paper to read. Okay. Normally, ask your guide. Your guide would be the better person. Okay. So, survey or review article are a good starting point. As we discussed earlier, so if when you take service marketing review article, you can get plenty of review article, because this article is done by this research paper is prepared by some authors. What is their main objective? Their main objective is to find the research gap. So you can also refer those journals. You should try to identify the key papers. For example, base paper. We said we have seen it is a base paper. You can identify the base paper. Plus, you can also follow from the key paper. Okay. Plus, you can also discuss with. Okay. Now you might ask another one question: what to do? What to do if I find too few resources? What to do if I find only few resources? Discuss with expert or guide. Look for later topic. Say for example, you are doing research on hospital service quality. There is no research paper. You can also look for hotel service quality or bank service quality, or say for bank service quality or higher education service quality or library service quality. You can get some relevant materials. You can also broaden this topic to a little. Then you can get the review of literature. Otherwise, look harder. Okay. Then now you might ask, what to do if I find too many sources? So in such circumstances, what you can do is you can plan to scale down your research. You can also restrict by year. You take only recent 5 years. You restrict by source. You select only 2 or 3 sources. For example, there are several sources. Say, for example, you can take only Scopus alone, or you can take only Web of Science alone. That is good. Or otherwise, you can also restrict the topic. Okay. Now, just I would like to throw some light on the content where you can get. For example, if you take research, yes, yes, sir, not visible. Now only, sir. Okay, sir. Just I will see, sir. Just a minute, sir. Now it's visible, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, madam. Again, then I will check. Now it's visible, sir.
No, sir. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, madam. Just a minute. Sir, whether you can, yes,
Yes, sir.
yes,
sir.
madam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Regret for the inconvenience caused. Sorry, regret. Thank you. Say for we have discussed this. Say for example, sources where we can collect the review of literature. Next, we have seen. If, yes, sir. Sir, I am doing this as a PowerPoint. That is a presentation mode. It seems very little, sir. 1 minute, sir. Now it's okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just I am trying. I think there is some technical flaw in my system. It seems. I will share. Yes, sir. Slideshow. I am doing the slideshow, sir. I am doing the slideshow from the beginning. Now I am doing the slideshow. In my screen, it's full of slideshow. Okay, sir. I will do at the end. I will share this presentation to you, sir. I will share all my presentation to you. Kindly bear the inconvenience. Okay. Get the picture. Say for example, if you take research paper, you can. These are the components of the research paper. Introduction aspect will be the first, plus review of literature will be there, plus research gap, plus research model, plus research objectives will be there. Finally, analysis, next analysis aspect will be there, plus analysis and conclusion, plus results and discussion, managerial implications. Last one, limitation and scope for further research. These are the components of the research paper. For example, if you take the research, there are two types of work. One is a hard work, another one is a smart work. We should do the smart work because we don't have sufficient time to read the entire research work. So what we can do is, say for example, you are looking for where to find. You are looking for what research area or subtopic does the paper fall under. You can kindly refer title page and title and abstract. What problem does the paper attempt to solve? It is better you refer title, you can refer abstract or introduction, or sometimes you can refer problem definitions. What is the related work? Why it is not sufficient? If you take introduction part, at the end of the introduction part, you can get this information. What key contribution does the paper claim? You can get this information at the end of the introduction part, at the end of the conclusion part. Now, sometimes, how does the paper solve the problem? You can get this kind of information at the end of the research paper. How does the author defends the solution? You can get this at the end of the research introduction page. You can get this at the end of the introduction page. Okay. How to write review of literature? Normally, if you take review of literature, it should be like a funnel type. First, you should take the broader topic. Next, you should select the subtopic. Next, again, you should narrow down the studies like yours. There are three methods of writing review of literature. First one is chronological wise, that is publication date wise. Say for example, 2021, if you want to do the research recently, you like to do research of late, means you take 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, you can write review of literature. How you can write review of literature? You can write like this. Say for example, X made an attempt to study the relationship between customer relationship management on customer loyalty. This study found that these are the important variables influencing customer loyalty. This is what expected. So you can write this review of literature by year wise. Next, by trend. Trend means you can also classify this review of literature into 3 different periods. Okay, let's take history. Normally, let's take history. They will write review of literature by medieval India, recent, and this all comes under trend. Similarly, you can also write review of literature on the basis of theme. Theme means that is you can take something, say for example, customer relationship management and customer loyalty, customer relationship management and profit, customer loyalty, customer relationship management and intention to revisit. You can identify some themes, then you can place the theme. Under the theme, you can write 4 or 5 review of literature. Similarly, you can also write review of literature on the basis of research methodology. Say, for example, whether if you take research, there are 2 types of research. One is a qualitative research, another one is a quantitative research. You can write review of literature on the basis of qualitative research. You can also write review of literature on the basis of quantitative approach. These are the various ways of writing a review of literature. Before writing a review of literature, what you can do is you can prepare one master table. I will show one master table. You are supposed to prepare one master table. In the master table, you should write this information. For example, author name, what type of study, what is the sampling technique, what is the sampling design, what is the data collection approach, and what is the key findings. Similarly, even you can also prepare the table like this. For example, let's take, this is one of the review of literature. Say for example, let's take totally this researcher has identified more than 200 research articles. From this, you can also identify one thing. Say for example, so what's your research paper? Let's take the first research paper, Asia Pacific Journal of Marketing and Logistics. In the year 2000, say for example, 2005, only one article has been published. Similarly, let's take here, European Journal of Marketing. Several articles relating to your study has been published in this journal. So you can also aim for, you can also identify your journal, you can also aim to this journal. Similarly, let's take this International Journal of Bank Marketing. Almost 39-40 research paper has been published in International Journal of Bank Marketing. So you can also aim for your, you can also identify your research paper. This is your research paper. Plus International Journal of Service Industry Management. Almost 28 research article has been published similar to your title. So you can also aim this journal. So when I see, I forget. When I see, I remember. When I do, I learn. I will show another one slide. Actually, this is not my own. Then I'm taking, I'm drawing this information from this sources. Whenever we write review of literature, we should use different verbs. Argue, we should not use the same verb. We can use different verb. These are the example for different verbs. Now, what I can do is, I will show one review of literature prepared by one student. One of the review of literature details. Just I will share this. Sir, whether you can see the presentation, sir?
It's too small, sir.
Yes, madam. Actually, this is Word. Actually, so I don't know how to maximize. Is there any control F5? Is the okay, madam? I will share this information to your sir. So kindly bear the inconvenience. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, madam. Now
Okay, sir.
it's okay, madam. Now it seems
Yes,
something.
sir. Now, when you maximize, it is yes, sir. It's okay, sir.
Okay, madam. Let's take, first you should write like this: author name, industry, country, sample size, sampling unit, sampling method, plus data collection plus research method. Finally, analysis. You can also write the conclusions. So from this, what you can get is you can get this information. Whenever we write a review of literature, how we will write review of literature? We will use this word, even though several study has been conducted all over the world. Let's take here country. Even though several study has been conducted all over the world. This study has been conducted in UK, Singapore, Canada, UK, USA. Let's take, most of the study has been conducted. Most of the study has been conducted in Western perspective. Okay. Then in India, none of the study has been conducted. But we should not say none of the study, because some study might have been conducted. So we can say like this: in India, only few study might be conducted. So therefore, there is a gap. So the researcher is intended to fill the gap by way of studying this topic. So you should prepare one one table. So even during your Viva wise, at least you can present this information. You will have another one advantage by presenting this information. For example, let's take sample size. Let's take here, what is the sample size? The sample size is only 93. So sometimes people might ask, only why your sample size is only 93? You can also you can also justify. Let's take this study. The only 93 is a sample size because this data has been collected from the managers. Okay, again they have used non-probability sampling method. So you can, let's take here, non-probability sampling method has been used. Non-probability sampling method has been used. Probability, mostly probability and non-probability sampling has been used, might be used. But probability, as far as a statistical point of view, if you have used probability sampling, that is a good. Similarly, if you take there is a book, how to write review of literature. How to write in English? There is a book, how to write review of literature. If time permits, kindly go through this book. Definitely, you can get a lot of new information. Just I will show that information. Say, for example, English for research. There is a book. Actually, there is a book, English for research. When you take this book, if you have, you can also download this book from the net, English for research PDF. You can get all this information. Say, for example, they will explain how to establish your topic, how to write our past, present history of the study, outlining the possible future of, how to write. They will explain how to write research gap in your research study, plus how to write aim of your research paper. See, and there are 52. First one, let's take establishing why your topic is very, very important. Actually, we are supposed to write this at the end of the research, at the end of the introduction part. Bank service quality is the main. They use the same word in different way. Leading or primary or major cause of. So similarly, then not only this, so when you take outlining or indicating the research gap, so by going through this, you can get some idea. It's very simple. So I will share this information. Next, we are going to discuss another one important aspect, that is none other than sampling design. We are aware about sampling. Sir, whether this is visible, sir? Anyone of the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. Okay. What is sampling? Sampling, it's a process of obtaining information from the large
Sir, you're not audible. Sir?
Hi, Shashi. Sir, can't hear you.
Okay. Okay. Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, madam. I think there is a connectivity problem. Okay. Ma'am, whether you can see the presentation, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Let's take here, say for example, this is, we have seen, you have collected data from, you'd like to do research on bank service quality. The bank may have different types of customer. One may be agriculture, another one may be business. But when you collect data only from the agriculture alone, agricultural people alone, the data may not be, the sample may not represent true and fair view of the entire population. Okay. Similarly, whenever you are taking as a sample, it should be representative, it should be accessible, and the cost should be very low. There are, when you take, just I will discuss. I would like to discuss the sampling method. Okay. If you take sample size, if you take if you take a sampling, there are two types of sampling method has been followed. One is a probability sampling method, another one is a non-probability sampling method. What is probability sampling method and what is a non-probability sampling method? In case of probability sampling method, all the population units will have equal opportunity of being selected as a sample. That is the probability of probability sampling. Under probability sampling, several sampling method will come. Simple random sampling will come. Systematic random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, plus other sampling technique method will come. In case of non-probability sampling method, only convenience sampling, judgmental sampling, quota sampling, snowball sampling method will come. What is non-probability sampling? In case of non-probability sampling, all the population elements will not have equal opportunity of being selected as a sample. This is the meaning for the term non-probability sampling. Let's take, this is a convenience sampling. Convenience sampling will come under non-probability sampling. For example, I am supposed to collect data from different places: Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Delhi, Hyderabad. I am convenient with Bangalore, so I am collecting data only from the Bangalore. So I have ignored Chennai, Pune, Delhi, and Hyderabad. As a result, the sampling may not represent true and fair view of the entire population. Sometimes the sampling error might be something higher. This is convenient sampling. What is the next one? Next one is a judgmental sampling. Judgmental sampling is a form of convenient sampling in which the population elements are selected based on the judgment of the researcher. For example, let's take, I am selecting here, in case of judgmental sampling, I am going to collect data from all the places, but it is based on my own judgment. For example, Bangalore, 7 respondents are there. Chennai, 7 respondents are there. Pune, Delhi, and Hyderabad, 7 respondents are there respectively. But I would like to collect data only from the first respondent. With regard to Chennai, just I would like to collect data from the 10th respondent. With regard to Pune, just I would like to collect data from the 19th respondent. That means I am neglecting the rest of the respondents. Normally, the judgmental sampling will be used in case of test marketing. This is the next one. Next one is snowball sampling method. Whenever you are going to select some sampling, that your problem may be something novel. It's very, very difficult to identify the sampling unit. For example, you would like to collect some data with regard to thief. Your research topic is like this. For example, intention to become a thief or underlying motivating factors to become a thief. So how we can identify the thief? It's not possible. Even if you identify the thief, whether people will tell he is a thief, that is not possible. So how samples should be identified? First, we should select any one of the respondents as a base. Again, subsequent respondents are selected based on the reference given by the first respondent. For example, let's take, there are several, these are the several, this is my target population area: Bangalore, Chennai, Pune, Delhi, and Hyderabad. I have identified respondent 2. Respondent 2 is referring respondent 7. From the respondent 7, he is referring respondent 11. Respondent 11 is referring 14. 14 is referring 21. So by this way, I can collect samples. Okay. So similarly, quota sampling. Okay, quota will be fixed. For example, for every cluster, some quota will be fixed. So I can select some sample. Okay. This will comes under non-random sampling. Let's take random sampling. This is an example for simple random sampling. What is simple random sampling? In case of simple random sampling, all the respondents' name will be written and folded in small piece of paper. We are shuffling it again and again. Just we are trying. Our intention is I would like to take only 4 samples. So for when I am taking first sample, it shows 10. Next, 17, 23, and 29. Now, what is the drawback of this sample? What is the drawback of this sample? None of the person has been selected from Bangalore. This is one of the drawback. Similarly, let's take next one, systematic sampling. What is systematic sampling? For example, just I can give one example. You like to collect data from the bank. You have approached bank, but it's very, very difficult to collect data from the bank because the banker might not give the data. So what you can do is you can stand in front of the bank. You can explain the purpose of your research to the respondent. Okay. When the respondents leave from the bank after completing their bank service, you can distribute the questionnaire. So you can identify for example, let's take here. I have identified I would like to give the first respondent. Next, I'm not going to give questionnaire to second, third, fourth, fifth. Again, I would like to give the sixth respondent. I don't know who will come sixth, next, 11th, 16th, 21st, 26th. By this way, you can also ensure randomness. This is systematic random sampling. Next, what you can do is stratified random sampling. This is another one sampling method, stratified random sampling. What is stratified random sampling? You can divide the entire population into different strata. From the data, you can collect some sample. For example, this is one strata. This is one strata. This is one strata. We have 5 strata. What is our intention? We are supposed to select any one sample from any one strata, or otherwise I can give the difference between simple random sampling and stratified sampling. You would like to collect some data on cool drinks consumption habits. You have selected only male population alone with the help of simple random sampling. Immediately, one of the female students stood up and he is asking the question, "Sir, what is the study?" The study is relating to the consumption habits of cool drinks. You ask the male, they will say, for example, Coke or Pepsi or 7-Up. Similarly, when you pose the same question to female, they might say Masa slice. See, there is a difference. Okay, in such circumstances, what we are supposed to do is, we are supposed to identify how many number of samples, what is the total number of samples we are supposed to select. 10. Now, out of 10, you have selected one sample, male, second male, third male, fourth male, fifth male, sixth male. You should not consider this because already we have reached 5. So sixth, it should be female. Till female comes, you are supposed to take female. 7th female, 8th female, 9th, 10th. Then you can complete your samples. Okay. So these are the various aspects of sampling. If you have any questions, I'm ready to clarify your doubt. I will share all the information to sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay. Sir, Sheikh sir.